Welcome back to the Bald Brothers Team All Things Real Estate Podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Todd.
And we're the Bald Brothers team here at Impact Properties. This is a show all about real estate, but we do not give legal, tax advice or real estate advice because you're not our client. But we do want to talk about real estate, don't we, Todd?
That's right, we do.
And we've got a couple of topics to talk about today. But before we do that, let me give our California Department of Real Estate license number 019226671. Okay, disclosures are out. What are the topics we're covering today?
Hey, today, California does it again.
Oops, they did it again.
Oops, they did it again.
I don't think it was an oops.
Yep, California does it again. There's a gas tax that just went into effect.
Oh, gas tax.
Yep. Also, hey, flying the U.S. flag is mandatory in this community.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. And is death a means to cancel debt?
That is a terrible suggestion, and we're going to talk about that more in today's podcast. Thanks for coming back. This is the Bald Brothers Team All Things Real Estate Podcast. Okay, you know, just for those that are listening, Todd is not the best beatboxer. Yeah,
dubstep.
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, there are certain things that we do well, Todd. Beatboxing is not one of them, right? Promoting hair products is not one of them. We're trying to sell real estate, okay, in the most weird real estate market that we've ever seen.
I'm not a hip hopper. I'm not a hippity hopper.
You're not a hippity hopper. No, you're not a pop rocker. I mean, I need you just to sell real estate.
All right.
Like, that's all we need to do, right?
Stick with that.
Stick with that. Stick with your strength. So what is going on here with California doing it again?
Yeah, California does it again. What does that mean? Well, hey, you know, we love in the state of California paying taxes. I mean, other parts of the country, not so much. People don't like paying taxes, but in California, it's our thing. It's kind of what defines us. And so what have we done again? We have said, hey, we don't pay enough in gas taxes. I think we should pay more. And as of just a few days ago, we had a gas tax increase, didn't we?
Oh, we did. And I know you're saying that tongue-in-cheek, Todd, because we do have one of the highest tax burdens in the entire country. And yet we still are at a deficit.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that the Sacramento legislatures decided to do, of course, was to raise taxes for all of us by increasing the gas tax that they charge per gallon here in our Golden State.
That is the solution to everything.
Apparently it is. And so they have decided as of July 1st to increase the taxes per gallon by 4 cents. 4 cents doesn't sound like a lot.
That seems reasonable, right?
Sure, right? But that's an 8% increase over what it previously was.
Yeah.
So now we're at 58 cents per gallon.
Yeah.
And what, you drive, 14?
Yeah, we were figuring this out just an hour or so ago. And I'm very meticulous. Every time I go to the gas station, I log how much I buy. I log my fuel economy. My wife, my girls think I'm a nerd, but I log it. I have a log. And on average, anywhere from 14 to 16 gallons per week, depending on how much driving I'm doing, you know, how many real estate, those sorts of things. So I think we let's figure a rate of about 14 gallons per week is a pretty good average for me with one car.
With one car, right? And so if you take that math and you do 14 gallons times
58
cents. I believe it's $8.12 a week extra in taxes that you're paying in addition to your gas bill. So
it still doesn't seem like too much, right?
It doesn't, but let's add that up. When you times that by 52, you're looking at $442. Let's just round it up to $450 a year in additional taxes that are going to our state.
For one car.
Yeah. Now, you have a family of 4.
Family of 4 that are living under one roof. You know, that's about to change. Our youngest daughter is going to be going off to New York to live, going to college.
What are the gas taxes are in New York?
I don't even know.
She's not going to have a car,
She's not going to be driving.
Okay,
she'll
so it's not going to affect her.
She'll be in the busy section of New York. But yeah, up until now, it's been 4 under the household. We used to have 5, but our oldest daughter is married. And so, yeah, you multiply that times, and we actually have, with 4 people, we actually have 5 cars.
Well, what's interesting about that, okay, is that you've got one daughter going to New York. You've got one that moved out. You still have now going to have 3, but multiple cars. Where have you noticed any great, significant, amazing golden freeways around here with all the tax dollars you're paying for your gas taxes?
You know, no. And I remember, do you remember years ago all the construction they were doing on the 91 freeway?
Yeah.
It seemed to go on forever. And the promise was that once we finish this construction, it's just going to be, I mean, and by the way, the 91 is notorious for being slow. And once this construction is being done, it was going to be just golden. It was just going to be free flowing. And once they opened the freeways up again, I didn't notice a single bit of difference.
No, because more people are driving that freeway.
Right.
So you're at $450 a year with one car.
Mm-hmm.
You are not driving like a lot of people. I wouldn't say. There's a lot of people.
Even as a realtor.
Yeah.
We don't drive even as much. No, we do a lot of driving.
Yeah.
But we primarily work with sellers, which means less driving than if you're working with a lot of buyers. But even as realtors, there's a lot of people and a lot of industries that drive a lot more, that commute a lot further to work.
Yeah, so we're talking anywhere from $500 to $1,000, I think, easily per home, per car.
Yeah.
Added in taxes that you're paying that you don't get to write off per se unless you are a business owner. And so I wondered what average gas prices were elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But before I do that, guess what?
What?
I still popped my tire in a pothole about a year ago on my Audi.
Uh-huh.
Okay, just driving down the street.
Yeah.
There was a pothole, and it popped it.
Yep.
Lost all the air, like within a block. I had to pull over. Car had to be towed because it was terrible.
Pothole made a surprise attack.
It did. I don't think that the gas taxes that we pay at the pump actually go to help local cities.
Mm-hmm.
I think it covers California's straight infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
and not the local roads.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure on that one. I'd love to hear from somebody who's listening to this if they actually know how that works.
Yeah, we're real estate experts, not road experts.
Exactly. We don't know. And we're not tax experts, right?
Not tax experts.
And back to our disclosure, we don't give legal advice.
There we go. There's the
okay?
disclosure. We got to throw that in there.
Right. Okay, so I looked up on AAA because they track gas prices everywhere. And in California, the average price right now, $4.84 a gallon, including that 58 cents gas tax.
Yeah.
Total price per gallon in Texas right now, $3.15.
All right.
So we're going down.
Going down.
And in Tennessee, $3.08. And the lowest in the nation is in Mississippi at $2.96 a gallon.
MISSISSI PPI.
You are so smart.
Yep.
You memorized
one
that
of the
when
first
you were a child.
spelling words you learned in elementary school. But hey, $2.96 per gallon. Can you imagine paying that here?
No.
At one time we did.
I remember. We used to, right? But
Yeah.
one of the reasons that people are leaving California, and why did we bring this up? How does it have to do with real estate? One of the reasons that people are leaving California is the cost of living here
Cost of living
is expensive.
And this is just one facet. I mean, we're talking about a gas tax, and a lot of people will say, well, yeah, you know what? For the benefit of living, and I mean, hey, we got sunshine, we got wonderful weather, we've got beaches, we got the mountains. Maybe not so clear skies. We got some scuzzy skies, depending on where in California.
Skies.
Yeah, smoggy skies.
There's a billboard downtown LA. It says, "Come to LA and see the air."
There we go.
It's a main
I like
attraction.
that.
You can see the air.
Yeah.
It's really sad though. You drive down the mountain, right, from like Lake Arrowhead, and you can see the smog layer.
Yeah, you can ride on a coat of.
Yeah, it's not great, guys. If you haven't been here and you haven't seen that, it's not fun. It's not like doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, but the fact is, some people will say, you know what, I'm willing to pay that gas tax for the benefit of living in a very beautiful. I mean, California is beautiful. We both love living here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to California, but it's just one aspect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that start to add to the cost of living. This is just one tax. And by the way, for most people, you can't write this tax off unless your business allows you to write off the gas. And so this is just one facet. So people are leaving not just for the gas tax. That's just one reason, but it all mounts up.
It does. And essentially at some point, there's the camel that breaks the the straw that breaks the
Yeah.
camel's back. There's the camel that breaks the straw's back.
back.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic. Do as I say, not as I say. There is a straw that breaks the camel's back,
Yeah.
right? And this one extra thing puts somebody's budget out of reach
Mm-hmm.
for owning a home here.
And it's a mental thing too.
It is.
What was a 4 or 5 cent recent increase, and for somebody who's already on the fence and say, oh, now we got another increase, and it's like, that's it.
Well, and I know that like your Social Security didn't go up 8%. I know that pensions didn't go up 8%. Very few things went up 8%. So this is a monumental increase when you look at it as a percentage, even though it may have a minor impact overall. It's going to impact people because it keeps adding up. And guess what? They didn't ask us if we wanted to increase this tax.
No.
They just did it. So another reason people leave California. Speaking of leaving California, if you are looking to sell your home, Todd and I work primarily with sellers. We also have a number of buyers that we've worked with, but we specialize in selling homes here in Southern California, and we understand that there are many, 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 many decisions to be made along the way if you are thinking about selling your home. And so Todd and I often work with customers months, years in advance to help you prepare for the process of selling.
Yep. It's selling a home is not something you just do on a whim and the next month it's sold. I mean, for some people, actually, it can be done.
It's true. We've had that
but
happen.
For most people, this is a long, painstaking process of making the decision to sell, especially if you're moving out of California. And then, of course, there's a whole process that goes into that. And that's what we specialize in. We work with people for a long period of time.
Absolutely. So if you are thinking about selling your home, you want to give us a call. I'm going to give you our 800 number again. It's 833-305-BALD, 833-305-BALD. And that is a call center, so don't be surprised if someone picks up the phone. They will answer the phone, and they will attempt to transfer us if it's during business hours. But most likely you're going to be calling us at night or in the morning or sometime, and it's going to go to our call center. They're going to take your name and number. They're going to forward it to us, and one of us will call you back. Either Todd or myself will call you back. So give us a call today if you're thinking about selling somewhere in Southern California.
Yep. What are we going to talk about next?
So I read this article about a community that requires every homeowner to fly the American flag.
Really? Now, what community in Southern California is that?
Well, I had to look it up because I did not know where this community was based. Turns out it's not in California. Okay. It's not California. Shouldn't surprise anybody, but it's really not in California. It's in North Carolina.
Okay, that sounds a little more like it.
Well, we have a lot of people that are leaving California, right? They're going to Carolinas has like come onto the radar recently. We hadn't had a lot of people move there. We've had multiple clients now move to the Carolinas in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we have.
For the most part, nobody was talking about it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but it's now back on the map. And so this article here, it is in, you have it right there. Is it Gastonia?
Oh, let me look it up. Oh, yeah, look at this. Okay. I love this. It's 1776 Gastonia.
Yeah. Gastonia.
Yeah. But 1776, and that's fitting. And look at this. It's a community that's 55 and older.
Okay, so 55 and older, community requiring them to fly the American flag. So in the article, it talks about the developer, right? He wanted to build a community where people could express their patriotism. And in fact, the homeowners are called patriots. They're not even called homeowners. Like if you live in that community, you're a patriot, right? And as the article says, every single house is going to be required to fly the American flag.
Wow.
And to ensure that this happens, they are at the builder's expense. Of course, you're going to pay for it because you're buying the house, but they're putting up a flagpole. And then part of your HOA dues, your homeowner association dues, is that they're going to maintain those flagpoles to make sure that those flags are always flown.
So the HOA maintains the flag poles.
Yeah.
And then the homeowners have maintain the flag.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But one way or another, they're going to make sure that flag flies every day.
Yeah.
as it's supposed to fly
Wow.
in that community. Now, it begs the question, is it legal for them to have the flag, to make the flag, to force them to fly the flag? And I'm not an expert. You're not an expert,
No.
Todd, in North Carolina real estate law.
Mhm.
We do not give legal advice. It is a 55 and older
Mhm.
community,
Yep.
which does still abide by real estate laws in the country.
Mhm.
You can't really discriminate
Can't discriminate, but
on
there's
anything
yeah.
that is
Mhm.
a federally protected class.
Mhm.
But there's a caveat to that when it comes to senior communities.
Mhm.
So you can age discriminate if you are building a senior community, and this one is 55 and older.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that now allows them to add additional rules to that.
Mhm.
We'll let them decide that.
Yeah.
But if you're a patriot, we now know where you can go.
Now we know.
Yeah.
If you're a patriot, this is where you can go. I mean, we got to say it in a different way.
This is where you can go. We have found your home.
Yeah. No, but that's really an interesting story. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out because it's a brand new story. It'll be interesting to see if other communities, other 55 and old, other HOAs adopt this sort of model. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in this one community. We are living in a country that is continuing to be more and more polarized. Right. And one thing I would imagine that this would do is, I like the idea of people being patriotic, but one thing it probably will do is increase that polarization because only a certain type of person is going to move to that community. Well, we already know 55 and older, but it's going to attract a certain type of people. So we'll see a little bit. It'll kind of be interesting to see how this plays out and what the end story will be. Interesting.
I just thought it was interesting. We don't. I hadn't read a headline like that. I have been practicing real estate for over 20 years, and I have never ever read a headline anything close to that. But like you said, because we're more and more divided as a country, I think you're going to see more and more of these situations pop up where there are certain ideologies that are going to be cemented in CCNRs like this.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on.
Yep.
Since we're in real estate, we can move on.
We can.
Like quite
That's
literally.
Right. There we go. Da-dun, chink.
Dad jokes for free.
Yep.
We are both dads. So, hot news. Supreme Court shoots down the Biden proposal to cancel student debt.
Yep.
I've been watching this on Twitter.
We kind of knew that was going to come.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of people hoping, a lot of students that have graduated with debt that were hoping that the student loan would be canceled because it is a burden, right? And there are a lot of people that have come out to, ridicule the Supreme Court for saying, no, that's not possible, that is an overreach of the presidential powers. There's a lot of people that are quite the opposite of that, mad at the Supreme Court for not allowing the president to cancel the debt. Why do we bring that up on a real estate show?
Well, student debt is a big issue in this country, and it affects the ability of someone to buy a home. And, we work primarily with sellers, but we do also work with buyers. But the reality is buyers really control the real estate market. If the buyers are in the market, it affects real estate. If the buyers disappear, it affects the ability of somebody to sell their home. And so student debt is a big issue. It's been a political football for the last several months, actually the last couple of years. But it really has a long-reaching effect of someone's ability to purchase.
Well, I know when my wife and I first got married, we were still in school. Okay, we were finishing up Biola. And when we graduated, we had debt. Between her and I, we had debt. And we felt the effects of the debt. We knew that it was delaying certain things. It was delaying our plans to buy a home. It was delaying our plans to start a family. And a couple of the reasons that the White House put forth in doing this was to help the economy, help these young graduates to be able to move forward, start their lives, buy houses. And one of the, in the press release that they released last week when this decision was made, is they said now there's going to be millions of young graduates that can't do that. My wife and I were in that same boat nearly 30 years ago when we graduated. And you know what we did, Todd?
What'd you do?
We delayed our home purchase and starting our family.
You did exactly what I was just talking about.
We did.
Yeah,
Because
you waited.
we needed to pay off our debt.
Mhm.
And we didn't want to go, buy a home and still have the additional burden of student loan debt.
Mhm.
And so while we were working postgraduate, we graduated from Biola. We both had jobs. She was a teacher. I was working at a real estate office. That's how I started my career in real estate.
Mhm.
We combined our incomes. We only had one car because our schedules were flexible and yet rigid enough to where I could drop her off. I could go to work,
Mhm.
then I could come back and pick her up,
Yeah.
and she could grade papers after her school day, right? And so I would drop her off. I didn't work too far. I'd come back and pick her up. We had one car
Mhm.
for the first 3.5 years of our marriage.
Yeah.
Because we had one singular goal: get out of debt as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
And my wife re-enrolled in her master's program, and so that deferred her payments. And instead of at the time just saying, hey, well, those are deferred, we're not going to make it, we knew that they were interest-free, 0%
Mhm.
during that deferment period.
Mhm.
Dollar for dollar, every dollar we paid towards that would go towards a principal reduction.
Mhm.
And so we paid off hers as quickly as possible because it was dollar for dollar.
Mhm.
And then we lumped that sum in and started paying off mine. We paid off that debt in about 3.5 years.
That's incredible.
And then we
Yeah.
started to save for a house.
Yeah.
But you know what was happening? Friends of ours that had graduated that still had student loan debts went out and bought houses
Mhm.
because they could.
Yeah.
They had the income. They just made those minimum payments. And I kid you not, 20 years later, many of those friends of ours still have
They're still paying it
student loan
off.
debts.
Wow. That was a while ago. Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Because we're no spring chicken.
We are bald, okay? We're the
Yeah.
bald brothers.
Yeah.
Those young days are long behind us. So I get it. I feel for those young guys who want to and
Mhm.
gals who want to buy.
Mhm.
So I did some research on kind of what average student loan debts are. I couldn't find anything specific to Southern California, but I did find that the average person graduating with a bachelor's degree from Sparrow Financial reported this on their website, sparrowfi.com. They said that the average bachelor graduate degree, the person graduates with a bachelor's, I cannot talk today, is spending $448 a month on student loan debt.
Mm.
The average person that graduates with a master's degree is spending $695 a month on debt.
Yeah.
So if you do the math on $448 a month at 6.75% interest rate, that would equate to a mortgage payment of $69,000 on a $69,000 mortgage.
Okay.
So what that means is this. You want to buy a house,
Mhm.
and you look at how much you qualify for. If you have a $648 a month loan payment, you qualify for $69,000 less.
Yeah. So your purchasing power drops by $70,000.
Correct. Now, in Southern California, where the average price is over $1 million now,
So, yeah.
you're gonna not see too much of a difference
Not
between
as-
what you can and cannot buy.
You're not as huge of an issue unless you're in a bidding war, and then that knocks you out of the ability to
That's
compete.
true. And we
Yeah.
do have bidding wars again
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Now, if you're in the master's degree debt level, they're at $695 a month. That changes your buying power by about $107,000. So $107,000 less that you can afford if you're paying on that loan.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant.
Mhm.
Again, not as much in Southern California, but if you go to Middle America, where the average home is between $400,000 and $500,000,
Oh, that's a huge difference. Yeah.
it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And if you're like my friend Aaron Peterson up in Ohio, where the average home he sells is $180,000,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't afford the house.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's half of the. Yeah.
it's period. End of story. Like the house is not even affordable
Yeah.
because you're paying on your debt.
Yeah.
So debt is absolutely important. It's very interesting. I saw this headline and I couldn't believe that it was true. I actually went and looked it up because there's no way that somebody would recommend this as a means to get out of student loan debt. And it was actually very tragic, the fact that they would suggest that this is a way. New York Times published an article that lists 6 ways to get out of debt. And one of the ways they said was death.
Really?
Yeah. Now, they didn't support suicide.
They weren't giving it as a suggestion.
They weren't suggesting it, but they said upon death, debts do go away.
So they were stating a fact that someone could pick up.
But
and
they got
take
hugely
it as a
ridiculed.
suggestion. Yeah.
You know, and they've gone and scrubbed the article and changed the verbiage and taken it out of the headline. But it was like one of the bold headlines as one of the ways. And so that could be misinterpreted.
Oh, yeah.
In a number of different ways. And in fact,
well, especially in today's, there's a lot of people struggling with depression.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it can really be something that could be detrimental. And by the way, if you're listening and you're going through something, whether it be student debt or something else, death is never the option. There's never something that you should ever consider as a potential option.
And so we definitely want to encourage you to get help if you are in that, if you're in that space right now.
Yeah, go talk to your pastor. Or,
absolutely. Because we do know that a lot of people do feel the burden of debt as something that will never, ever go away. And so there are alternatives to that solution. And so we don't want to encourage that at all. And rightfully so, New York Times came under harsh criticism because they included that as a possible way to get rid of debt.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that those people criticize him. I, too, condemn that suggestion as a means to do that. But we do want you guys to know, as you're going through college, as you are looking at buying, if you still have that burden of debt, you do need to incorporate that into your buying plans, because you are going to have to show a lender that you can afford a home, mortgage, as well as the debt. So be smart with your money. Get out of debt as quickly as possible. When my wife and I paid that off, we celebrated. We went and bought a couch for cash, right? It doesn't sound like a big, no. Was it a couch? We bought a whole bedroom set.
Wow.
As a celebration, like, hey, this is our goal. We set up a goal to spend money on things that we couldn't afford while we were paying off our debt.
You sacrificed for 3 years. You deserve that bedroom set.
That's right. You know, one of the things that we did do as a tangible reminder of the debt that we had is on the visor of the car, we put a little debt calculator. And every month I would update it with what we owed. And so we would go out to eat, or we'd go out and we want to buy something, and we'd roll down that visor, or, flip down the visor. And I was like, you still owe $18,000. Don't do that. Right. And it was a smart and visual reminder for us to constantly be disciplined on what we were spending our money on. So, hey, I think that's all we have time for today.
That's it for today.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us.
We talk all things real estate. Today we talked about some things real estate. You got to come back for all.
Yeah, that's right. Because we are never going to cover all. Therefore, we will always have subjects, always have things hopefully of interest to you. But today we've covered some pretty big topics. And if you are thinking about selling your home or buying a home, we are the Bald Brothers team. And you know what we do?
We sell homes.
Yes, we do.
Where can they find us?
They can find us at 833-305-BALD.
Yep, BALD.
They can find us on the IG.
Yep.
On the gram.
It's at Bald Brothers.
At Bald Brothers team. Yeah.
And then we've got baldbrothers.tv. If you go to that website, that'll take you to all of our videos. And then we've also got our website, baldbrothersteam.com.
We are selling homes here in Southern California. We look forward to hearing your comments and your feedback, and we look forward to hearing from you regarding selling your home. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.